Captain Lee Hunnell stood on the bridge of the spaceship New Sol and watched the alien ship approach. It was huge, much bigger than any human ship ever built. The alien vessel looked like a giant crystal floating in space, with bright lights dancing across its surface. "Sir, they are sending us a message," said Lieutenant Kim Minji from her station. She was the ship's science officer and translator. Her fingers moved quickly over the control panel. "Put it on the main screen," Hunnell ordered. He had been waiting for this moment his whole life. First contact with aliens, real aliens from another world. The screen flickered and showed a strange creature. It looked like a tall pile of blue crystals that moved and changed shape as it talked. When it spoke, the words came out in a musical tone that sounded like wind chimes. "Greetings, beings of the third planet," the alien said. The computer translated its words into Korean, then into English. "I am Ambassador Korthek of the Velthari people. We come in peace to welcome you to the galaxy." Hunnell stepped forward and bowed slightly. "I am Captain Lee Hunnell of Earth. We are honored to meet you, Ambassador." The alien's crystal body shifted colors from blue to green. "We have watched your species for some time. You have developed space travel and nuclear energy. This means you are ready to learn about the galaxy and its dangers." "Dangers?" asked Dr. Park Junho, the mission's chief scientist. He was a thin man with gray hair who had studied alien signals for 20 years. "Yes," Korthek replied. "The galaxy is vast and full of many species. Some are friendly, like us. Others are dangerous. But there is something far worse than any hostile alien race. There is a substance so deadly that it has destroyed entire civilizations." The humans on the bridge looked at each other with worry. Lieutenant Yoon Suho, the military officer, put his hand near his weapon. "What kind of substance?" he asked. The alien's form grew darker. "We call it the death liquid. It is a simple molecule made of two common elements. But when living beings touch it, terrible things happen. Their bodies break down. Their minds stop working. Whole planets have died because of this poison." Kim Minji leaned forward in her chair. "Can you tell us more about this substance? What does it look like?" "It appears as a clear liquid at normal temperatures," Korthek explained. "Sometimes it becomes a gas. Sometimes it freezes into solid crystals. But in all forms, it brings death. The molecule has two hydrogen atoms joined to one oxygen atom." Dr. Park's eyes went wide. He grabbed Kim Minji's arm. "Did he just say H2O?" he whispered. "I think so," she whispered back. Hunnell felt his heart start beating faster. "Ambassador, this death liquid, does it have no taste or smell when pure?" "Correct," the alien said. "That makes it even more dangerous. Creatures cannot detect it until it is too late." "And it can exist as a gas in the air?" Hunnell continued. "Yes, and that is how it spreads so quickly. The gas gets into the breathing systems of life forms. Once inside, it begins its deadly work." The human crew exchanged shocked looks. Commander Oh Hyuk, the diplomatic officer, stepped closer to Hunnell. "Sir, I think they're talking about water," he said quietly. Hunnell nodded slowly. This was impossible. These advanced aliens were afraid of water, plain, ordinary water that humans drank every day. "Ambassador," Hunnell said carefully, "this death liquid, what happens to species that encounter it?" Korthek's crystal body turned almost black. "The Morthak Empire was the first we know of. They were a great civilization that ruled 200 star systems. Their explorers found a planet covered in the death liquid. They brought back samples to study. Within 1 year, their entire species was extinct." "How?" asked Dr. Park. "The liquid got into their cities through the air. It dissolved their silicon-based bodies. Billions died in agony. Their great cities crumbled. Now their worlds are empty graveyards." Lieutenant Kim Minji felt sick. She reached for her water bottle without thinking, then stopped. The aliens were describing water like it was acid. "There have been others," Korthek continued. "The Crystal Dynasty lost 3 colony worlds when death liquid contaminated their atmosphere. The Zethmar incident destroyed an entire moon when just 1 drop started a chain reaction. A chain reaction from one drop? Hanul asked. Yes, the liquid spreads and multiplies. It gets into everything. Rock, metal, living tissue, nothing can stop it once it starts. Dr. Park rubbed his forehead. He was trying to understand how these aliens could be so afraid of something humans needed to live. Ambassador, have you ever encountered a species that could survive contact with this substance? The alien's form flickered. Impossible. No life form can survive the death liquid. It goes against all laws of biology. Any species that encountered it would die within days. Hanul looked around the bridge at his crew. They all had the same shocked expression. These aliens had no idea that humans were made mostly of water. That human blood was mostly water. That humans drank water every day and would die without it. Sir, Kim Minji whispered, what do we tell them? Before Hanul could answer, another alien appeared on the screen. This one looked like a ball of bright energy with no solid form. I am Fluxen of the Quindar, it said in a voice like electric static. We have come to warn you about the death liquid. Your planet shows signs of having this substance. We detected it in your atmosphere. Hanul's mouth went dry. Earth's atmosphere had water vapor in it. The oceans covered most of the planet. These aliens thought Earth was contaminated with their worst poison. How much of this substance did you detect? He asked. Everywhere, Fluxen replied. Your entire planet appears to be covered in the death liquid. We are amazed that any life survived on your world. Commander O'Hyok stepped forward. What do other species do when they find this substance? They run, Korthek said simply. They evacuate the system immediately and mark it as a death zone. No ship goes there. No trade routes pass through. The area becomes forbidden forever. Has any species ever tried to use this substance? Dr. Park asked. Both aliens made sounds of horror. Korthek's crystal body turned bright red. Use the death liquid? That would be madness. Even thinking about such a thing is dangerous. To weaponize the death liquid would make a species the most feared force in the galaxy. Hanul felt sweat on his forehead. He realized that the aliens were giving him information that could change everything. If water was the most feared substance in the galaxy, and humans lived with it every day, then humanity had just become the most dangerous species these aliens had ever met. Captain, Lieutenant Yoon whispered, we need to be very careful about what we say next. Hanul nodded. He looked back at the aliens on the screen. Ambassador Korthek Fluxen, we appreciate this warning about the death liquid. We need time to discuss this information with our people. Of course, Korthek replied. We will wait. But remember, if your species has encountered this substance, you must tell us immediately. The safety of the galaxy depends on it. The screen went dark. Hanul sat down in his captain's chair and looked at his crew. Nobody spoke for a long moment. Finally, Dr. Park broke the silence. Well, he said, I think we just discovered that humans are the most terrifying species in the galaxy. And we didn't even know it, Kim Minji added. Hanul stared out at the alien ship floating in space. Everything had just changed. Humanity was no longer just another new species joining the galaxy. They were something these advanced aliens had never seen before. A species that lived with the death liquid. A species that drank poison for breakfast. Or Dr. Park Junho felt nervous as he walked through the alien ship's corridors. The walls were made of smooth crystal that glowed with soft blue light. Everything looked clean and beautiful, but also strange and cold. Two aliens in white protective suits walked beside him. They stayed far away like he might explode at any moment. The suits covered their whole bodies and had special air filters. They treated him like he was carrying a deadly disease. Please stay in the center of the corridor, one alien said through a speaker in his suit. Do not touch anything. Even the smallest contact could be dangerous. Park nodded and kept walking. He was going to meet with the Alien Science Council. They wanted to understand how humans had survived on a planet covered with death liquid. The problem was that Park had to somehow explain that humans needed water to live. He had brought a small bag with him. Inside were some basic items: A water bottle, some medical tools, and a few pictures of Earth. The aliens had checked everything 10 times with their scanners. They were very scared of the water bottle. The corridor opened into a large room with a high ceiling. Around the room stood dozens of aliens from different species. Some looked like crystals, some like energy beings, and others like strange plants or metals. All of them wore protective suits. At the center of the room was a clear box made of some kind of strong material. Inside the box was a chair and a table. This was where Park would sit during the meeting. "Dr. Park," said a voice through the room's speakers. "I am Dr. Velthana, Chief Scientist of the Galactic Health Council. Please enter the containment chamber." Park walked into the box through a small door. The door sealed shut behind him with a hiss. Now he was completely separated from the aliens. They could see him and talk to him, but nothing could pass between them. "Thank you for coming," Dr. Velthana said. She was a tall crystal being with many arms. "We need to understand your species. Our scans show that your planet has death liquid everywhere. Yet somehow life exists there. This should be impossible." Park sat down in the chair. "Dr. Velthana, what you call death liquid, we call it water. It is not poison to us. It is necessary for life." A gasp went through the room. Several aliens stepped back even though Park was already in the sealed box. "Impossible," said another alien scientist. This one looked like a floating metal sphere. "No life form can survive. Contact with death liquid. Our records go back millions of years. Every species that encountered it died." Park opened his bag slowly. The aliens watched him like he was handling explosives. He took out the water bottle and held it up. "This is water," he said. "On Earth, we drink this every day." The reaction was immediate. Several aliens made sounds of horror. One crystal being's light went completely out and it fell over. Other aliens rushed to help it. "By the ancient stars," Dr. Velthana whispered. "You carry death liquid with you?" "It's just water," Park said. He unscrewed the cap of the bottle. More aliens backed away. "Watch." Park lifted the bottle to his lips and took a drink. The sound that went through the room was like nothing he had ever heard. It was a mix of screaming, gasping, and electronic static. Half the aliens in the room fainted. "Stop," Dr. Velthana shouted. "You will kill yourself." Park swallowed the water and smiled. "I feel fine. Humans drink about 8 glasses of this every day." An energy being named Fluxstar flickered rapidly. Eight glasses? Every day? How are you not dead?" "Because humans are made mostly of water," Park explained. "Our bodies are about 70% water. Our blood is mostly water. We need it to live." The room went completely silent. Dr. Velthana's crystal body had turned completely white. 70%? She whispered. "Yes," Park said. He took out a medical scanner from his bag. "Would you like me to show you?" "No!" Several aliens shouted at once. Dr. Velthana held up one of her crystal arms. "Wait, if this is true, if your species is made of death liquid, then you are not just immune to it, you are it." Park nodded. "In a way, yes." A plant-like alien named Roothar spoke in a shaking voice. "The ancient texts speak of a legend, a species so dangerous that they were made of pure poison. We thought it was just a story to scare children. It appears the legend was true," said Dr. Velthana. "Dr. Park, do other humans know about this? About the death liquid?" "We know about water, yes," Park said. "But we didn't know other species were afraid of it. On Earth, we swim in it. We wash with it. We play in it for fun." Another wave of gasps went through the room. Several more aliens fainted. "You swim in it?" Dr. Velthana asked. "You submerge your entire body in death liquid?" "Yes," Park said. "Children learn to swim when they are very young. It's considered a basic skill." An alien that looked like living smoke started to disperse. Other aliens had to hold it together. "They train their young to survive in pure death liquid," it said. "What kind of species are we dealing with?" Dr. Velthana turned to the other scientists. This changes everything. We are not dealing with a species that survived death liquid contamination. We are dealing with a species that is death liquid. Park held up one of his pictures. It showed Earth from space with blue oceans covering most of the planet. "This is our world," he said. The aliens stared at the picture in horror. "Those blue areas," Dr. Velthana said slowly. "That is all death liquid?" "We call them oceans," Park said. "They cover about 71% of Earth's surface." A mechanical alien circuit started sparking. 71% of their planet is covered in pure death liquid, and they call it home. "Not just home," Park said. "We use the oceans for transportation. We have ships that float on the water. We catch fish that live in the water and eat them. They eat creatures that live in the death liquid," Ruthar whispered. "The contamination goes through the entire food chain." Park took another drink from his water bottle. The aliens watched in fascination and terror. "Dr. Velthana, may I ask something? What happens to your species when you touch water?" "Our crystalline structure dissolves," she said. "The death liquid breaks down our molecular bonds. We die in minutes." "And the energy beings?" Fluxstar flickered weakly. "The liquid disrupts our energy patterns. We lose cohesion and fade away." Park nodded. "I understand now. What is poison? To you is life to us. What would kill you in minutes we need to survive." "This is beyond our understanding," Dr. Velthana said. "In all our records, in all our science, we have never encountered anything like this." An old alien that looked like a tree spoke up. "There are legends among my people, stories of a species so dangerous that they could destroy worlds just by existing. We called them the water demons." "Are we demons to you?" Park asked. "We do not know what you are," Dr. Velthana replied. "But you are the most dangerous species we have ever encountered. You do not just use the death liquid as a weapon. You are the weapon." Park stood up and walked to the wall of his containment chamber. "We don't want to be your enemies. We want to be part of the galactic community. But how can we trust a species made of pure poison?" asked the mechanical alien. "How do we know you will not contaminate our worlds?" "Because we have lived with water for millions of years," Park said. "We know how to control it. We know how to contain it." Dr. Velthana's crystal body slowly turned from white to a pale blue. "Dr. Park, does your species have weapons that use death liquid?" Park thought about fire hoses, water cannons, and even simple squirt guns. "We have devices that can spray water, yes." The room erupted in panic. Aliens were running in all directions. Alarms started going off. Dr. Velthana's voice came over the speakers. "Emergency Protocol 7. The humans have death liquid weapons. Alert the fleet." Park sat back down in his chair and sighed. This was going to be a very long day. Outside the alien ship, Captain Lee Hunnell watched as dozens of alien vessels moved away from Earth. They were all backing up to what they thought was a safe distance. They had no idea that Earth was about to become the most feared planet in the galaxy. Dr. Lee Sora sat in the archive chamber of the alien ship Eternal Harmony. The room was filled with floating crystal spheres that contained the history of 1,000 civilizations. Each sphere glowed with different colors and held millions of years of records. The alien librarian, an ancient being called Keeper Mortis, moved between the spheres like a ghost. He was very old, even by alien standards. His crystal body was cracked and worn, but his mind held more knowledge than entire planets. "You wish to know about the wet death," Mortis said in a voice like breaking glass. "Few beings ask about such dark history. Most prefer to forget." Sora leaned forward in her chair. She was Earth's best expert on ancient civilizations. "I need to understand how water became so feared. If humans are going to live in this galaxy, we must know what we're dealing with." Mortis reached out with one of his long crystal arms and touched a red sphere. The sphere began to glow brighter and images appeared in the air above it. "Behold the Morthak Empire," he said. "They ruled the Western Spiral for over 10,000 years. 200 star systems bowed to their power. Their cities were made of living silicon that grew into beautiful towers reaching the clouds. Dur the UR. Images showed amazing cities with buildings that looked like giant trees made of glass and metal. Flying vehicles moved between them like schools of fish. Millions of crystal beings lived and worked in harmony. They were explorers. Mortis continued, always seeking new worlds, new knowledge. That curiosity led to their doom. The images changed to show a small ship floating near a blue planet. Sora recognized it immediately. The planet looked just like Earth, covered in blue oceans and white clouds. They found a world covered in the wet death, Mortis said, but they did not know what it was. They thought it was just another liquid. They collected samples to study. What happened next? Sora asked, though she was afraid to hear the answer. The samples were brought back to their capital world. The scientists wanted to understand this strange liquid. They put it in their laboratories, stored it in containers, tried to break it down into smaller parts. The images showed Morthak scientists working with water in sealed chambers. They used tools to poke and prod at it, completely unaware of what they were handling. Within days, the first scientist died, Mortis said. The wet death had leaked from a small crack in a container. It touched his silicon skin and began to dissolve him from the inside out. Sora watched in horror as the images showed a crystal being slowly melting away. His body became soft and liquid, then collapsed into nothing but water. They tried to contain it, Mortis continued, but the wet death had already escaped into their air systems. It spread through the city like a plague. Every being it touched died the same terrible death. The beautiful crystal city began to crumble. Buildings dissolved as water seeped into their foundations. The flying vehicles fell from the sky as their crystal pilots melted away. In just weeks, a city of millions became a pool of contaminated liquid. The survivors tried to evacuate, Mortis said. They sent warnings to other worlds, but it was too late. The wet death had gotten into their transportation systems. Every ship that left carried the poison with them. Sora saw images of panic across the Morthak Empire. World after world fell to the water contamination. Each planet's death was the same. Beautiful crystal cities dissolving into poisonous lakes. In 1 year, Mortis said quietly, the greatest empire in the galaxy was gone. 200 star systems became graveyards. The wet death had claimed them all. He touched another sphere, this one colored blue and white. New images appeared. The Crystal Dynasty learned from the Morthak disaster, he said. They created special protocols. No exploration ship could return home without being completely cleaned. They thought they were safe. The images showed a different kind of alien civilization. These beings looked like living gemstones that could change their shape at will. Their cities were grown from pure crystal that sparkled like diamonds. But the wet death is sneaky, Mortis said. It can hide in the smallest spaces. One ship returned from a survey mission. The crew thought they had cleaned everything. But deep in the ship's water recycling system, a few drops remained. Water recycling system? Sora asked. They did not know what it was. Mortis explained. The liquid was colorless and odorless. Their instruments could not detect it properly. To them, it was just another chemical. The images showed the survey ship landing on a crystal world. The crew came out and embraced their families. Everything seemed normal. 3 days later, the first colonist died, Mortis said. The wet death had leaked from the ship into the groundwater. From there, it spread through the planet's crystal network. Sora watched as another beautiful world died. The crystal beings tried to cut off the contaminated areas, but water seeped through cracks they couldn't see. Entire continents dissolved into muddy rivers. 3 worlds died before they could stop it, Mortis said. The Crystal Dynasty survived, but they never explored space again. The fear of the wet death made them hide on their remaining worlds. He touched a third sphere, this one black with red streaks. The Zethmar incident, he said, and his voice became even quieter. This is the story that still gives nightmares to space travelers across the galaxy. The images showed a mining operation on a small moon. Thousands of mechanical beings worked to extract rare metals from the rock. Everything was going well until they dug too deep. They found a pocket of liquid deep in the moon's core, Mortis said. Just a small amount, Maybe a few drops. The miners thought it was just water from an ancient comet. But it was actually water? Sora asked. Pure, wet death, Mordes confirmed. When their mining laser hit the pocket, it released the liquid into the moon's atmosphere. What happened next was worse than anything Sora had seen. The water didn't just kill the miners. It started a chain reaction in the moon's core. The rock began to dissolve and collapse. Within hours, the entire moon imploded into a ball of poisonous mud. The explosion sent droplets of wet death flying through space, Mordes said. They hit 3 nearby space stations and a passenger ship. Over 50,000 beings died in less than a day. Sora felt sick. These aliens had good reason to fear water. To them, it wasn't just poison. It was a force of destruction that could kill entire worlds. There are more stories, Mordes said. The Plasma Collective lost a whole colony when wet death got into their energy grid. The Iron Brotherhood abandoned a star system after one drop contaminated their main factory world. He touched sphere after sphere, showing Sora dozens of civilizations that had been touched by water. Some survived by running away. Others died completely. All of them learned the same lesson: avoid the wet death at all costs. Now you understand, Mordes said. For millions of years, every intelligent species in the galaxy has known one absolute truth. The wet death is the ultimate destroyer. It cannot be reasoned with, cannot be stopped, cannot be contained. It only brings death. Sora stood up from her chair. Her legs felt weak. And humans live with it every day. Yes, Mordes said. Your species has done something that no other life form in the galaxy has ever achieved. You have not just survived the wet death. You have made it part of yourselves. What does that make us? Sora asked. Mordes was quiet for a long time. Finally, he spoke in a whisper that sounded like wind through broken glass. It makes you the most terrifying species that has ever existed, he said. You are not just immune to the galaxy's greatest fear. You are the galaxy's greatest fear. Sora looked around at all the glowing spheres. Each one contained the story of a civilization that had died because of water. And now humanity was about to join the galactic community, carrying the very substance that had destroyed empires. Keeper Mordes, she said, what do you think will happen when the galaxy learns the truth about humans? The ancient alien's crystal body flickered. I think, Dr. Lee Sora, that the galaxy is about to change forever. Outside the archive chamber, Captain Lee Hanul waited for Sora's report. He could see through the window that more alien ships were arriving. The news about humanity's water-based biology was spreading fast. Soon, every species in the galaxy would know about the water demons of Earth, and then everything would change. Admiral Park Yuna stood on the bridge of Earth's flagship Sol Star and watched the alien fleet approach. There were hundreds of ships from dozens of different species. Some looked like giant crystals, others like metal spiders, and a few were just balls of pure energy floating in space. Ma'am, they're staying really far away, reported Lieutenant Choi Minho from his scanner station. The closest ship is still 3 million kilometers out. They're afraid, said Commander Song Ji-won, Earth's military strategist. They think we're some kind of poison demons. Park Yuna had been a naval officer for 30 years before joining the Space Force. She had commanded ships on Earth's oceans, fought in storms, and saved people from drowning. Now those same skills made her the most feared military leader in the galaxy. Admiral, came a voice over the radio. This is Fleet Commander Zal Koran of the Galactic Defense Force. We demand that you surrender immediately. Park Yuna picked up her microphone. Commander, this is Admiral Park. We are not surrendering, we are here to talk. You cannot be reasoned with, Zal Koran replied. Your species is made of pure death liquid. You are a threat to all life in the galaxy. We have lived peacefully on Earth for thousands of years, Park Yuna said. We don't want to hurt anyone. Peacefully? Another voice broke in. This was Captain Velthek of the Crystal Fleet. Our sensors show your planet is 70% covered in wet death. How can anything live there? Lieutenant Kim Tae-hyun, the ID communications officer, looked at the Admiral. Ma'am, should I show them the ocean footage? Park Yuna thought for a moment. Do it. Let them see what we're really like. The main screen activated and began broadcasting to the alien fleet. It showed videos of Earth's oceans. Blue waves crashed against sandy beaches. Children played in the surf, laughing and splashing each other with water. Surfers rode the waves on their boards. Swimmers dove deep underwater to explore coral reefs. The reaction from the alien fleet was immediate. Several ships actually moved backwards. Emergency alarms could be heard over their radio channels. By the ancient stars, whispered Captain Velthek, they're swimming in pure death liquid. For pleasure. The video continued to show humans doing things that seemed impossible to the aliens. People water skiing behind boats, children jumping, off diving boards into swimming pools, families having water balloon fights in their backyards. This is madness, said Commander Zalkorin. No species can survive submersion in wet death. Yet these creatures do it for fun, not just survival, reported a scan operator from one of the alien ships. Our deep sensors show they have massive cities built right next to the death liquid oceans. Millions of them live within walking distance of pure poison. Admiral Park smiled. Commander, would you like to know how humans really use water? We do not want to know your death secrets, Zalkorin said quickly. Too late, Park Yuna replied. She nodded to Lieutenant Choi. Show them the water cannon test. A new video began playing. It showed the Earthship Busan conducting what humans called a fire safety drill. The ship's water cannons activated, shooting powerful streams of water into space to test their pressure systems. The alien fleet watched in absolute terror as streams of pure death liquid shot out from the human ship like weapons. The water froze in space, creating glittering ice crystals that sparkled in the sunlight. Weapons! Screamed multiple alien voices at once. They have death liquid weapons. Half the alien fleet immediately jumped backwards another 1,000,000 kilometers. The other half started charging their energy shields and preparing for battle. Wait, Admiral Park called over the radio. Those aren't weapons. We use water cannons to fight fires on our ships. Fight fires? Asked a confused alien voice. When things burn, we spray water on them to put out the flames, explained Commander Song. It's basic safety equipment. The aliens went quiet for a moment. Then Commander Zalkorin spoke in a shaking voice. You use death liquid to fight fires? The most dangerous substance in the galaxy. You use it for safety? Water puts out most fires very well, Admiral Park said. Every human building has water sprinkler systems. If there's a fire, water sprays automatically to stop it. They have death liquid distribution systems in every building, reported an alien scanner operator. The entire planet is equipped to deploy wet death at a moment's notice. Dr. Na Sun-woo, Earth's chief science advisor, joined the conversation. We also use water for agriculture. We spray it on our food crops to help them grow. They contaminate their food supply with death liquid, whispered Captain Velthek. And then they eat the contaminated plants. Not just plants, Dr. Na continued helpfully. We catch fish that live in the ocean water and eat them too. We also eat sea vegetables that grow underwater. The sound coming from the alien fleet was like 1,000 beings having nightmares at the same time. Several ships had to shut down their communication systems because their crews were panicking. There's more, said Lieutenant Kim Tae-hyun. He was starting to enjoy this. Humans also use water for transportation. We have ships that float on top of the ocean water. Impossible, said a mechanical alien voice. Nothing can survive contact with wet death long enough for transportation. Admiral Park activated another video feed. This one showed massive cargo ships crossing Earth's oceans. Oil tankers, container ships, cruise ships with thousands of passengers, all floating peacefully on billions of tons of water. Those vehicles, said Commander Zalkorin slowly, they are traveling across an ocean of pure death liquid. Every day, Admiral Park confirmed. We have thousands of ships on our oceans right now. Some of them are carrying families on vacation cruises. Vacation cruises? People pay money to spend weeks floating on the ocean, explained Dr. Na. They think it's relaxing and fun. The alien fleet was now spread out across a huge area of space. Some ships had retreated so far they were almost out of sensor range. Others had formed defensive formations, as if expecting an attack at any moment. "Admiral Park," said Commander Zalcorin, "we need to ask you something very important. Does your species have the ability to launch death liquid into space?" Admiral Park looked at her crew. They all nodded. Earth had ice comets, water-based rockets, and even simple water balloons. From the aliens' perspective, humanity had an endless arsenal of water weapons. "Yes," she said simply. "We can put water anywhere we want." The reaction was immediate and terrifying. Red alert alarms went off across the entire alien fleet. Ships began jumping away to emergency positions. Emergency broadcasts went out to every world in the galaxy. Code black," the transmission said. "The water demons can deploy death liquid anywhere in space. All ships maintain maximum distance. All worlds prepare evacuation protocols." Admiral Park watched as the most advanced military force in the galaxy ran away from her small fleet of human ships that carried nothing more dangerous than drinking water and emergency fire systems. "Ma'am," said Lieutenant Choi, "I think we just became the most feared military force in galactic history. And all we did was show them how we live," added Commander Song. Admiral Park sat back in her captain's chair. She thought about her grandmother, who used to take her swimming in the river when she was a little girl. Her grandmother had taught her that water was life itself. Now that same water had made humanity the most terrifying species in the galaxy. "Open a channel to all ships," she ordered. "Channel open, ma'am." "This is Admiral Park Una of Earth," she said. "We don't want to fight. We want to talk. We want to be friends. But if you threaten our world or our people, you will learn why water is called the most dangerous substance in the galaxy." The alien fleet continued to retreat. Some ships were now jumping completely out of the star system. Admiral Park smiled. Sometimes the best weapon was the one everyone was already afraid of, even if it was just a glass of water. Colonel Song Jiwan walked into the peace conference room wearing his best dress uniform. The room was divided into two sections by a wall of pure energy. On one side sat the human delegation. On the other side, dozens of alien representatives wore full protective suits and stayed as far away as possible. The peace talks had been going on for 3 weeks. Every day, more alien species joined the discussions. News of the water demons had spread across the galaxy, and everyone wanted to know what humanity planned to do next. "Good morning, representatives," Song said as he sat down at the human table. Next to him sat Ambassador Na Sunwoo, Dr. Kim Tae-hyun, and Captain Oh Hyok. Each of them had a simple water bottle on the table in front of them. The aliens stared at those water bottles like they were bombs ready to explode. "Colonel Song," said Supreme Chancellor Morvaleth, the leader of the Galactic Council. She was an ancient crystal being who had lived for over 1,000 years. "We have come to discuss terms for your species' integration into galactic society." "We appreciate that," Song replied. "Earth wants to be part of the galactic community." However, the Chancellor continued, "there are conditions. Your species represents the greatest threat the galaxy has ever known. We cannot simply welcome you as we would any other civilization." Ambassador Na leaned forward. "What kind of conditions?" A tall energy being named Prime Fluxon answered. "First, you must agree to contain all death liquid to your home system. No human ship may carry wet death beyond your solar system." "You mean we can't bring water with us when we travel?" asked Captain O. "Absolutely not," said Commander Velcorix of the Defense Force. "Even a few drops could contaminate entire worlds." Dr. Kim Tae-hyun shook his head. "That's impossible. Humans need water to survive. We can't travel in space without it." "Then you cannot travel in space," Chancellor Morvaleth said simply. "You must remain in your system forever." Song stood up slowly. "Chancellor, that is not acceptable. Humans have the right to explore the galaxy just like any other species." "But you are not like any other species," said a plant-like alien named Ruthar. "You are walking biological weapons. Everywhere you go, you carry death with you." "We're not weapons," Ambassador Na said firmly. "We're just people trying to live our lives." "People made of pure poison." muttered a mechanical alien in the back. Song picked up his water bottle. Every alien in the room flinched. You call this poison. We call it life. Maybe we need to find a middle ground. There is no middle ground with death liquid, Chancellor Morvalith said. It either kills or it doesn't. There is no compromise. Actually, said Dr. Kim, I think there is. He stood up and walked to a presentation screen. The aliens watched, nervously as he prepared to speak. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Kim said, you fear water because it destroys your biology. But what if I told you that humans could protect you from that very fear? What do you mean? Asked Prime Fluxon. Think about it, Dr. Kim continued. You've spent millions of years running away from worlds with water. You've lost entire civilizations to accidental water contamination. You've limited your expansion because so many planets contain this substance. The aliens looked at each other. This was true. But humans, Dr. Kim said with a smile, we're immune to water. We can go to those forbidden worlds. We can clean up water contamination. We can explore planets that you could never safely visit. Chancellor Morvaleth's crystal body flickered with interest. Continue. In exchange for joining the galactic community, Song said, Earth offers protection services. If any world has a water contamination problem, we'll clean it up. If you find a planet you want to colonize but it has water on it, we'll remove the water for you. You would do this? Asked Ruthar. You would help us fight against your own substance? Water isn't our enemy, Ambassador Na explained. It's just a tool. We can control it, move it, clean it up. What's deadly poison to you is just another resource to us. The aliens began talking among themselves in their various languages. Some seemed interested. Others still looked terrified. Commander Velkorix spoke up. What about your weapons? Our scans show you can launch death liquid across vast distances. Captain O smiled. You mean our water cannons? Those aren't weapons, but if any species ever threatens Earth or attacks our allies, well... He shrugged. Let's just say we have very good water pressure systems. The implied threat was clear. Humanity would defend itself and its friends using the galaxy's most feared substance. This is unprecedented, Chancellor Morvalith said. Never before has a species made of pure death material offered to join us peacefully. We're not death material, Song said firmly. We're life material. Water isn't just part of our biology. It's part of our culture, our spirit, our way of seeing the universe. We don't want to use it to hurt people. We want to use it to help. An old alien that looked like a metal tree spoke up. There are legends among my people, ancient stories of protectors who could tame the wet death. We thought they were just myths. Maybe they weren't myths, Dr. Kim suggested. Maybe they were prophecies. The discussion continued for hours. The aliens debated the risks and benefits of accepting humanity into their community. Some wanted to quarantine Earth forever. Others saw the advantages of having allies who were immune to their greatest fear. Finally, Chancellor Morvalith called for a vote. All in favor of accepting the human proposal? Slowly, one by one, alien hands and appendages went up. Not all of them. Some species were still too afraid. But enough. The motion passes, the Chancellor announced. Earth will join the Galactic Confederation as a full member, with the following conditions. Earth will provide water remediation services to member worlds. Earth will maintain water containment protocols when visiting non-water immune species. And Earth will provide protection services against water-based threats. Song stood up and bowed formally. On behalf of humanity, we accept these terms. The treaty signing ceremony was unlike anything in galactic history. The aliens signed with energy beams and crystal styluses while wearing full protective gear. The humans signed with simple pens that used water-based ink. When Ambassador Na dipped her pen in the ink bottle, half the alien delegation fainted. Is that? Chancellor Morvalith whispered. Water-based ink. Na confirmed. It's how humans have signed important documents for centuries. She signed her name with flowing script. Each letter was formed using liquid that could destroy worlds, yet she handled it as casually as breathing. "The treaty is signed," the Chancellor announced. "Welcome to the Galactic Confederation, people of Earth." As the ceremony ended, Dr. Kim Tae-hyun walked over to the energy barrier separating humans from aliens. On the other side, a young crystal, being named Shardek, looked up at him. "Human doctor," Shardek said, "are you really not afraid of the death liquid?" Dr. Kim smiled and raised his water bottle. "This isn't death liquid to us, young one. This is life liquid. This is what makes us who we are." He took a drink, and Shardek watched in amazement instead of horror. "Maybe," the young alien said quietly. "We have been wrong about the wet death all this time." "Maybe," Dr. Kim agreed. "Maybe what you call death we call hope." 6 months later, Earth's first water remediation ship arrived at the quarantined world of Nalkoven. The planet had been abandoned for 300 years after a water contamination accident. Captain Lee Hanul, now promoted to head the new Galactic Water Safety Division, stood on his ship's bridge and looked down at the poisoned world below. "Begin cleanup operations," he ordered. Human crews in simple protective suits went down to the planet's surface. They collected the deadly water, purified it, and safely removed it from the environment. What had been a death world for centuries became habitable again in just weeks. The galaxy watched in amazement as the water demons of Earth turned their greatest fear into their greatest hope. And in a small cafe on Earth, an old woman named Grandmother Park poured tea for her customers and smiled. Her granddaughter was now an admiral. Her water-based ink had signed the most important treaty in galactic history, and humanity had found its place among the stars, all because of a simple glass of water. The universe would never be the same.